Everyone. Welcome to our special webinar today for the MBA Application Workshop. My name is Farid Nordin. I'm the Manager of Strategic Recruitment and Enrollment at the Faculty of Business. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that you can hear me okay and you can see the screen on your devices. You can just either type in a few words in the question box on your screen. There's a question panel that you can open up and type in your questions and let me know if you can hear me and you can see the screen. And that's how we will communicate throughout today's session, is through that chat box or question box. All right, great. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. It's always good to know that I'm not talking in a vacuum. So that's thank you, appreciate it. And also just to remind folks that you can download this presentation by going to the handout section on your screen. There's a PDF of the slides for you to keep. So that is something that you can do as well. And yeah, and we'll just have an interactive conversation. So before we get started today, I just want to acknowledge that Athabasca University is Canada's online university and is proud to welcome a diversity of learners from all over Canada. We respectfully acknowledge that we live and work on the traditional lands of the Indigenous peoples of Canada, and we honor the ancestry, heritage, and gifts of Indigenous peoples and give thanks to them. As we gather today, I'm in Treaty 6 territory, which encompasses 17 First Nations, including the Diné Soulene, Cree, Nakota Sioux, and Métis people. Okay, and if you want to share where you're listening from as well, that would be great. So again, my name is Farid Nordin. I'm the Manager of Strategic Recruitment for the Faculty of Business, primarily for the MBA, DBA, and our professional development programs. I've been with AU now over 10 years. I started in marketing and alumni relations, and I shifted my role in recruitment. So yeah, so I've chatted with lots of prospective students such as yourself, talk about the program, and also to guide them on how to best prepare your application. And at the end of it, we also will celebrate your journey with us when you become an alumni. I'm going to now introduce my colleague, Shannon LaRose, who's an academic advisor for the Faculty of Business. Shannon will walk you through today about the admission requirements, the application package, and other good information about the program. So Shannon, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us and looking forward to providing information about how to put together an application package for the MBA program. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Last but not least, we have a special guest today. Joining us is Dr. Ana Azevedo, who is the MBA Admissions Chair and Associate Professor in Entrepreneurship and Management at the Faculty of Business in the MBA and doctorate programs. Ana has been with Athabasca University's Faculty of Business for over 13 years. Ana has been the admissions chair for several years now and have seen all kinds of resumes, essays, and reference letters, application packages. So this is a great opportunity for you to be able to ask Ana directly about your application, and we will walk through the red flags and the do's and don'ts. So Ana, we are so thrilled that you can join us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Farid, and I'm happy to be here.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, so for the rest of the presentation, I'm going to turn off my camera just for bandwidth purposes, so we can really focus on what we are trying to share with you today. So for those who have not joined our previous webinar, which was a general webinar, here's some of the topics that we'll be touching today, a recap of the benefits of the MBA program, the program structure, the routes of entries, and then we're going to go deep dive into the application package. And if we have time, I can do a quick demo on the application form, and of course, you can ask questions along the way. All right, so here we go. Let me see, the slide is moving. Oh, here we are. Oh yeah, so one thing I want to say is that we also have the next general online MBA webinar coming up on October 1st. So if you haven't signed up for that, or if you want to know more about the program with an alumni, we will have an alumni as a panelist on October 1st. You can sign up for it by clicking on the blue link either in your PDF or on our website, and you can register for that as well. Okay, here's a recap about the program from our last webinar. There are 5 benefits to the AU Online program. First and foremost, the flexibility of the program. You can do this anywhere, anytime, and we deliver it asynchronously, meaning that you're not required to be in front of your computer at any given time or date. So that's a great advantage if you're living in different time zones from your colleagues or from your coaches. That asynchronous delivery is what we're known for in the world, but the online MBA program, and we were the first online MBA to deliver this asynchronous pedagogy approach to MBA program since 1994. Another benefit is because it is a full MBA program, it is a 40 credit program, so you will have the building blocks of core courses in administration and business, including electives and or applied projects. So you are expected to work in a cohort, but minus the commute. So it's a cohort-based and paced program, but again, you can do this anywhere, anytime, without having to rush home to be in front of your computer at the certain time of the day. The third benefit is that because we're online, we're able to attract and attain not only students, but coaches and professors across Canada and across the world. So your interactivity, collaborative learning with each other is of a higher, more enriching level, because you'll be able to interact with students from all across Canada and all across industries, so you can learn from each other. That's the philosophy of the program, is the collaborative learning. Learning about similar business issues, but perhaps on a different lenses, from non-for-profit to oil and gas, finance, and so on and so forth. So the global perspective and the people that you connect and meet in each of your courses would be as dynamic as that. The other benefit is that you will be part of a highly supported environment. We are here for you, so don't feel that you're working in a silo. That's far from it. Again, because we have our learning management system, our tools that we provide to you are all there to help you learn in a collaborative fashion, that you're not always alone. So we also have a dedicated IT help desk team, dedicated administrative support, all the way up to the dean or the faculty of business. We are here to cheer you on along your way. So that is our promise to you. Last but not least is that you can tailor your own MBA journey in phase 2 of the program, so you can make it your own. So that is something that you want to consider, because all the electives are always changing depending on what is happening in the world right now. So we always have this robust and exciting electives in phase 2 that you can tailor to your MBA journey, or you can do electives plus an applied project based on something that you want to help achieve in your, let's say, organization, that you can choose the applied project route in phase 2. And also, last but not least, I just want to let you know that we are an accredited university. We are a public university. We report to the Ministry of Advanced Education in Alberta, and also we received the prestigious AACSB accreditation, which is the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business. Only 6% of the top world's universities have this prestigious AACSB accreditation. So rest assured that your degree from Athabasca University is highly recognized across Canada and across the world. Okay, so let's jump into the program structure. Again, this was covered in greater detail at our last webinar, and also the upcoming one on October 1st. But just to kind of get you feel of it, this is what the program structure looks like. The program is broken down into 2 phases. Phase 1, you start off with we start off with orientation. That's why we will teach you how to interact on our learning platform. How do you connect with your peers? How do you communicate with your coaches and your academic professors? How you submit your assignments? All of that is part of the orientation week. And then you jump to your first 3 credit core course, which is strategic management. So in phase 1, you have 6 core courses that build upon each other. And then at the end of the 6 core courses, Right now, you are expected to do a comprehensive exam. It's an open book, open text exam based on a case study, and you can always refer to your notes, to your discussions on the previous 6 courses to help answer those questions on a case study. And you have up to 6 days to complete the program. Sorry, the exam. Forgive me. And at the end of that, you'll get the Graduate Diploma in Management, or GDM, which marks the halfway of the MBA program. And then you go into phase 2, where you again have four more core courses to help you really solidify your building foundation of business and management at a graduate level. And then after the 4 core courses in phase 2, then you can have the option of either you can do an applied project, which is an academic research paper, which is worth 9 credits, plus a total of 9 credits in your elective choices. If you do not wish to do an applied project, you can complete the program by doing 18 electives credits as part of your journey. So yeah, so all in all, the program is 48 credits, and you'll get the Graduate Diploma in Management in phase 1. In phase 2, you'll be awarded the MBA degree. A note here is that at least one of the electives must be an in-residence. So currently what that means is in phase 2, one of your electives have to have either an in-person component, which is normally a 5-day, Monday to Friday component, either in Edmonton, Calgary, or in the Greater Toronto area, depending on the course and the time it's offered. Or there's a synchronous version of that in-person connectivity. Again, depending on the course, it can be maybe every week for a couple of hours, or maybe, again, like maybe the full 5 days, but it's online. And we also have online electives as well that you can complete it, but one of them is in residence. That is currently the requirement. But keep in mind that courses and requirements are subject to change. So depending on when you start with us, those requirements may be lifted, but as of now, that is how it stands per the regulations. And our elective courses are 3 to 6 credits. So you can actually complete your electives quicker by taking 6-credit course, which is 10 weeks. Our 3-credit courses are 8 weeks. So each course is the core courses you see in green, 8 weeks in length. You do 1 course at a time, and you take a little break between courses, and you jump back to the next course, and so on and so forth. All right. Now let's focus to today's webinar, which is about your application and what does it mean by managerial experience. So the program requires significant managerial experience. And what that means is that the committee looks for folks with responsibility and decision-making authority over budgets, people, projects, or a combination. And why that is important to us is because we want to ensure that you are at the right level, everybody's at the right stage in their careers, and have enough real-life examples to be part of this collaborative learning in our online platform. So everybody needs to have that manager experience, real-life examples to collaborate and give feedback and receive feedback on what they've done in real life. Another thing is also our degree is practical in the sense that you're putting theories into practice, right? So to be able to connect the learning to real-world experiences in your workplace immediately. So if you are in that capacity of a manager or higher, you should be able to test and trial and all of those theories in real life. So that's why the manager experience is crucial, and we'll get more into how that means on your resume, what it looks like to express that manager experience in your resume, essay, and reference letters, and we'll talk to you about that shortly. Yeah, so just want to let you know here, applicants are assessed on your own merits rather than you're competing with other people, because we are able to, we do not have physical limitations in our program. So you're actually putting forward your own profile the best as you can. You're not competing with other applicants, right? So we look at each application as a whole. So that's something quite different from the other programs. Which then brings us to the admission requirements. So we have 3 routes of entry to the program. If you have an undergraduate degree from an accredited post-secondary institution, then you need to demonstrate at least 3 years of managerial experience. Again, managing people, projects, or budgets. If you do not have an undergraduate degree, if you have one of the accepted professional designations, we have over 21 of those designations on our website, such as CPA, PEng, supply chain management, etc., plus 5 years of management experience. If you do not have that either, there's another pathway, which is through our graduate diploma in management program, which you do not require to submit undergraduate degree. Well, sorry, you do not have an undergraduate degree or a professional designation, but at least 8 years of progressive management experience. You can still apply to our MBA program through the graduate diploma in management. I'm happy to say that GRE or GMAT scores are not required for this program, so you can just apply based on one of the entry routes that you see on the screen. We also have an accelerated route of entry for those who have an undergraduate degree in business, such as Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Management, or the Bachelor of Administration that you have completed within the past 10 years with a GPA of 3.0 or higher based on the last 60 credits taken. And again, at least 3 years of managerial experience, you'll be eligible for the accelerated route of entry, where you'll be only be doing 30 credits as opposed to 48 credits. And this can be done in about 19 months. So if you meet those 3 admission requirements for accelerated entry, then this could be a good route of entry for you. Okay, I think I have done the recap. Now I'm going to pass to Shannon, who's going to really take you through the details of the application package, requirements, and other crucial information. And again, we will be stopping, throughout this presentation to make sure they have any questions along the way. So you can just type the questions in your question box as soon as you hear them that you want to have clarification, and we're here to answer your questions for you. With that, I'm going to turn to Shannon. Go ahead, Shannon.
Thank you, Fareed.
You're welcome.
All right. So we'll talk about the application package and what it includes. So we require a comprehensive resume outlining your management experience and skills. We also require a 1,000-word essay. We require 3 letters of reference. And if you're applying with an undergraduate degree, we require the official transcripts. Or if you're applying with a professional designation, we require that letter of good standing from that organization, along with the online application form and the application fee. So I'm going to go into each of these components and talk a little bit more about them. Okay, so what do we mean by management experience? So as Fareed mentioned earlier, basically the admissions committee is looking for your experience managing either people, budgets, or projects, or a combination of all 3. So managing people, for example, how many direct reports do you have? So you'd want to, highlight anything to do with leading people. If you have budget responsibilities, you want to talk about your approximate budget, and again, any kind of decisions that you make in the budget process. And also, if you're managing projects, so we recommend that folks that are project managers to provide a couple of examples of the type of projects that you manage, just to give the admissions committee, that kind of information. So, and basically, as Fareed mentioned earlier as well, just examples of your decision-making authority in your role as well is really important. All right. All right, so I'm going to talk about the comprehensive resume. So the resume is the core of the MBA application. It's not a typical or standard job resume. It's quite different. And we can accept a resume between 2 to 4 pages. So we do have a recommended format to follow on our website. And just going to kind of highlight some of the things that are really important to include for this kind of resume. So, for example, you need to include the start month and the end month along with the years for each of your positions, because this helps the admissions committee calculate your years of experience. So that's a really important thing to remember. Some of the other things that are really helpful that's included on this slide is you know, a little bit just a brief description of the company that you work for. So maybe 1 or 2 sentences before you start your bullet points. Also indicating if you're full-time or part-time. If you're part-time, it's important to include, you know, the approximate number of hours per week that you work. And including quantifiable data is very, very important. So again, if you manage people, you'd want to include the number of direct reports that you have and their titles. If you manage a budget, it's important to include the approximate or the range of the budget that you manage. And again, with projects, as I mentioned, just including information about projects such as, you know, the value or the budget of the project, how many people were involved in it, the outcome. So that kind of information is very, very important and very helpful for the committee. We also recommend that folks avoid using any technical jargon or abbreviations in their resume. Just kind of remember, you know, who your audience is. So the committee, you know, not all members might be familiar with the industry that you're in or the company that you work for. So try to avoid any kind of technical jargon and just really focus on your management responsibilities and your skills for that. So I just wanted to turn to Anna and just ask, do you have anything to add to this slide about the resume and the importance of the resume for the application?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can hear you great.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. You know, I think you highlighted the key points. We're looking for a resume that is concise, but very specific to the points that you addressed. And perhaps just to emphasize what you said before, and it's in the slide just prior to this one, the committee will zoom in on the years of managerial experience and literally count how many years have you had in this position, that position, and so on. So because we're looking for specific targets, either 3 years, 5 years, or 8 years, we are going through your resume and counting these years. And then we're looking for that very evidence of management of people, budgets, or projects. So a lot of the resumes we receive, or a number of the resumes, I should say, don't specify those. So we may sometimes have to send the resume back and say, can you please elaborate on direct reports, on budget responsibilities, or even if you only have projects, which is okay, you can have any of the 3 items, budgets, people, or
Projects.
Projects. Thank you, Shannon. If you have only one of those, it's okay, but then spend time and elaborate on the projects that you participated in. So the committee can then say, okay, it's only projects, but you have a good number of years of experience in different kinds of projects. So this is very specific, and make sure you're doing a good job at elaborating on that. Thank you, Shannon.
That's great. Thank you, Anna. And also, I think in the next slide, you know, it's really important to also include any significant accomplishments in each of your roles. So it's a chance to brag about yourself. Make sure that you include anything significant in those significant accomplishments in those roles. And also on this slide, if you have skills in these different areas, so risk management, stakeholder management, team building, mentoring, it's really important to include that as well. So really, really make sure you take the time to just think about, your different skills and responsibilities. And I also just want to ask Anna, so we often, have folks that own their own company or maybe have their own consulting company. Do you have any tips on how they can best represent that on their resume? If, for example, if they have a if they're a consultant, do you have any tips on what they could add?
Yeah, you could emphasize, for example, the relationship with the clients, right? You might have also lots of projects, right? So a person in a consulting role would typically have a lot of projects that they're responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
So again, looking back on those components of the managerial experience, the entrepreneur, for example, is an excellent example because people don't often know how to demonstrate that. But an entrepreneur will be in charge of a team and would also be in charge of a budget, right? So there is always room to elaborate on those components and really emphasize your management experience from that point of view.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. No, and sometimes we've run into, where folks sometimes have a full-time job and then they have a part-time, gig, and they don't always include that on their resume. So we always say, like, make sure, to include any kind of part-time job,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Sorry, may I add a point?
Pardon?
May I add one point?
Of course, yes.
Yes, you mentioned there a list of volunteer and community roles and activities, and
yes,
that's also something important. Some students or full-time workers that have on the side, they work for a charitable organization, for example, might actually have quite a bit of managerial experience that comes from that, and the committee does take that into account.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. Yeah, so be sure to include any kind of, volunteer leadership roles or membership on, committees and things like that. So thank you, Anna. Appreciate that. All right. So then we'll pause right now and free to let me know if anyone has any specific questions about the resume. Happy to answer those.
Thanks, Shannon. Okay, I'm looking at the question screen here. So far, nothing yet.
Okay.
I think we can carry on, and there's also question and answer opportunities as well towards the end of the webinar. So yeah, we can carry on.
I'll just add just about the resume, like it's really important to keep it to that, between 2 to 4 pages. We can't, accept a 6 or 8 page resume. So as Anna mentioned, it has to be pretty concise. So yeah, just keep that in mind as well when you're tweaking your resume. All right. So the next component would be the essay. So the essay is it's 1,000 words, and there's 4 questions on this slide that you have to respond to. And the essay is just another really good opportunity to showcase your management experience and to tell your story by responding to those questions. So really, the important things to remember is stick to the 1,000 words. So, we don't want a 1,500 word essay or a 700 word essay. So really just take that opportunity to use the 1,000 words. Answer all 4 questions. So sometimes people don't always answer all the questions. So really make sure that that you take each question and make sure that you're responding to it. Again, it's another opportunity to talk about your management experience and also proofread. So, you know, get somebody else to have a look at it, run it through a spell check. You just really want to make sure you're not submitting an essay with some careless errors. So that is really important to remember as well. So I want to turn to Anna and ask her, what does the admissions committee look for in an essay? You know, and are there any red flags? Just anything that you can kind of add to this.
Thank you, Shannon. First of all, we're looking to see what's your motivation. So that first question, why do you want to apply? We really try to understand how the MBA can contribute to your professional life. We also are looking for a little bit more detail on your managerial responsibilities. So questions 2 and 3 speak a little bit about that, right? For example, the question about the 3 experiences that most impacted your development. It gives us a chance to have a more detailed explanation about the complexity of your job. Sometimes the applicants are, for example, in a borderline situation. They might be just a little shy of the managerial experience. But then when we look at the letter, we actually see that even some of the supervisory roles demonstrate a good level of complexity, and we will take that into account. So the essay gives us an opportunity to have a little bit more understanding of your job positions and your responsibilities. And the last point, which is I can't emphasize enough, the essay is really the time that we have to see your writing skills, to assess a little bit of your writing skills. So do take time to write a good letter basically to demonstrate to us that you can write well, because we expect a good level of writing for a graduate program.
That's great advice, Anna. Thank you. And also, you know, the essay connects the dots back to the resume, right? So, you know, again, your resume has to be pretty concise, but the essay gives you that opportunity to maybe expand a little bit on your different roles. And so thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yes. And if I may add, actually, you had asked me also about red flags.
Oh, yes,
Sometimes it happens that the resume says one thing, but when we actually look at the types of experiences that are described in the essay, we think they don't quite match what it says in the resume. And that is a red flag.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, so they kind of have to line up with each other. And so, and then in the essay, if you're referring to a job, you know, like indicate which job that is, because people might have multiple jobs. Don't make the committee try and figure out which job you're talking about. So that's good to remember that as well. So great, thank you very much, Anna. All right, so the other important part of the application is official transcripts. So if you're applying with an undergraduate degree, we do require the official transcripts sent directly from that institution. So one of the easy ways to do that is through MyCreds. So that is on our slide here. And basically, if your institution participates in MyCreds, it's very simple. You just have to go to that website and you can order your transcripts and they will be sent to us directly. If they don't participate with MyCreds, official transcripts can either be emailed to that FB Grad Enroll email address, or they can be mailed to Athabasca University. Either way, you know, it's good to do this little task early, just so that you know it's done, especially if it's getting mailed, because it has to go there and then come back to us, and that can take some time. So that's one of the things you should do nice and early if you can. If you are applying with the CPA or SCMP designation, we do require the official transcripts from those organizations as well. And if you're applying with a degree, an international degree, so if you're applying with an international degree, we do require that degree to be officially assessed in Canada. So if it hasn't been done already, on this slide, there's information on the different organizations that can assess that. And that can take time as well. So you really have to make sure that you're doing that well in advance of the application deadline, because that is a requirement. So, and then we do require the official assessment to be included with your application. Okay, so that's, again, something that you can kind of tackle early, because these things can take time. All right, and I don't know if I should just turn to Anna. Do you have anything to add to, what is the committee looking for when they're looking at transcripts? For example, sometimes, we get calls from people that may have earned their undergraduate degree many, many years ago, and they're concerned about their GPA. So is that something that, outside of the accelerated entry, obviously, because you need to have a 3.0 or higher, is that something that the committee focuses on, or what are they looking for when they're looking at official transcripts?
Thank you for the question. I appreciate, because I'm sure it's a question that applicants will think about, right? And the committee is not really focused on grades. We looked at the transcripts. First of all, we try to get a sense of what kind of background the person has, right? So we look at the type of courses that they have taken and things like that. The only situation where I think the committee may pause is if the grades are extremely low. And sometimes you get transcripts with lots of F's and D's, and then basically we pause and think perhaps whether the applicant would be prepared and capable of a graduate level program. But other than that, we don't focus on grades at all. So I wouldn't worry about how old your transcript is, or the grades that you had. I wouldn't worry about that.
Okay, yeah, and obviously the official transcripts are also confirming that you earned the degree, which is important. And no, that's great. Thank you so much, Anna.
You're welcome. And if I may say so, the international assessment is also what you just said now. It's an opportunity for us to verify that your degree has a level of quality that we would expect. We're not looking for top universities or anything like that. We're looking basically for the qualification. And sometimes we get applications from universities that we don't know. So it's just to ensure that that level of quality is there. That's all.
Yes, and that it's equivalent to a Canadian degree. So yeah,
correct.
Correct. That's great. Thank you very much. All right. So another important component of the application is the reference letters. So as I mentioned earlier, we do require applicants to submit 3 reference letters. So you can submit 3 business reference letters, or 2 business reference letters and 1 academic. And so you have that option. We do have reference letter guidelines that you can provide to your referees, just so that they understand, what's to be included in the letter. So you really want to think about, who would be the best person to ask. So we can accept letters from the person that you report to or hire. It can also be, if you're an entrepreneur, it could be a supplier or a vendor, possibly your accountant or bank manager if you're an entrepreneur, because you can't ask family or friends. I also want to just talk about, well, I'll turn to Anna first and just ask you about, the importance of the reference letters, and again, what's the committee looking for in a reference letter, and how does that support their application?
Thank you, Shannon. The reference letters add value in the sense that it allows us to see evidence from other people you work with, right? So when they speak very highly about you, whether they're a supplier or a coworker or even somebody who was your boss in a current or former role, they give us a chance to see how are they evaluating you, what kind of skills they think you have, and basically validate some of the things that you are presenting in your application package. So we do think it's important. And sometimes even in borderline cases, good reference letters will put you through, because we think that if people are able to give you a good reference, then we think it's something that solidifies your application package in a good way, right?
Mm-hmm. No, that's great.
Sometimes, maybe you speak to that a little bit, Shannon. I let you elaborate on that. If you're an entrepreneur, what kind of reference letters you would give, right? So you always have people that you can go to and ask for reference letters, and we will take them into consideration. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a question that we do get asked from time to time, with entrepreneurs. So, like I said, if you have a supplier or a vendor that you work really closely with that know you very well, could be an accountant, a client. So yeah, you just want to give it some thought about, who do you feel, can write a strong reference letter for you. So, and then the other thing I wanted to add is when you get to the application form. So like I said, you can give them those guidelines ahead of time, just so that they kind of understand, what kind of letter to write. But when you get to the online application form, there will be a section about the reference letters, and that's where you'll put their name and their email address in, and send the request to your referee to write a letter for you. So they must accept the request, and then they'll receive an access code automatically, and then they will submit the reference letters through our application portal. So it'll kind of make sense when you get to that section, but that's how you would request your referees to write a letter. So I hope that makes sense. All right, I think that's all for that. And these are the reference letter guidelines. So again, it's good to read through them, and then that might just help you decide who would be the best person to ask. And as Anna mentioned, you can have your current employer or a previous employer, so again, just really think about who you feel would write a strong reference letter for you. All right. And then we also have an academic reference. And then lastly is the fees. So the application fee is $233. That's a non-refundable fee. And if you apply and are accepted, there is a $931 program admission fee. So that's paid. If you are accepted, you'd be provided a letter of offer, and that's when that would be paid. And then there are additional fees if you're applying to the program with the accounting designation or the SCMP designation. You pay an additional $348 transfer credit fee, and also, sorry, for the accelerated entry as well. Okay. And I think that's all I have. I'm just, if there's any questions for you to let us know, and then I'll turn it over to him.
Great. Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Let's see if there's any questions about that package, because that is the main part of this presentation today is to really dive into those important application package nuances and elements and what you need to submit to in order to be a successful candidate. So if you have any questions, especially to Anna, because again, Anna is our special guest today, and it's not always often we get Anna on the webinar. So this is a great time if you have any questions to ask Anna, because Anna is the admissions chair. Okay, I see for a question here. Can one take more than one in-residence elective course? Absolutely, you can. The elective in residence is normally required for one course, but you can definitely do so if your schedule allows and if you're willing to take that as another extra elective. For sure, you can. Thank you. Okay, so I know that Anna has a tight deadline at 11 o'clock, so I see like we have about 12 minutes left. So so the next part is I'm just going to quickly take you through the application process. Again, we are here to help you out with that process as well. Should you have any questions, so feel free to let us know. Okay, so far information was good. Thank you. All right, thank you so much for that confirmation, Alex. Appreciate it. All right, so let's jump into the application process. So all of these blue links you see on the screen and also on your PDF is clickable to our website. So feel free to click on those links to get more information. So again, what we have talked about, the resume, references, essays, transcripts, fees, all of that is on our website. So if you click on the arrow, you will expand into more of that information that we just talked about. All right. So the next thing we talk about is the online application form. Pardon me. So this way, gets a bit. It's not difficult, but it's a bit tricky where you really have to pay attention on what you're clicking on the form. Pardon me 1 minute. Pardon me, I just have a bit of a cough there. Applications are required. All applicants are required to complete and submit an online form. Once you start your application, you can save your progress and go back to the form to complete it. Excuse me. And particularly for those who are applying with the 8 years of progressive management experience, you must select the graduate diploma in management as a program type, because in each form or whatever you select on the form is going to affect the questions that you're being asked and also the paperwork that you need to submit. So if you click on the application online form link, you come to this portal where you have to create an account. Pardon me. So you can create an account by clicking on the create account link, and you can provide your email and your password, and you have created an account with us. Then you'll come to this page where you talk about your application. So here you can create a new application based on information that you want to, or based on the program that you're applying to. Okay. So once you get to there, here's a drop-down list. So in this form, is going to list all of the graduate programs that Athabasca University offers. So from humanities to science, technology to the business programs. So particularly for the business programs, here's the couple of things that you have to be aware of. If you're applying again solely based on 8 years of management experience, you're not submitting any transcripts or degrees or designations, then you have to select the graduate diploma in management program, because once you're in that program, once you complete phase 1, you can transfer to the MBA in phase 2. So be sure that you select this program when you're applying solely based on your 8+ years of managerial experience with no degrees or transcripts or designations. If you're applying with your undergraduate degree plus 3 years of managerial experience or one of the accepted professional designations with 5 years of managerial experience, then you can select the MBA program. And if you do qualify for the accelerated route of entry, then you select the accelerated route of entry, because again, once you select the programs, different questions will be asked of you. So you want to make sure that you are starting in the right foot here. I have a question here. Can I make changes to my application once I've submitted it? That's a good question. Once you have submitted it, you are not able to make any more modifications. So that's why this is a crucial step, because there are two-step process, step 1 and 2, and then you submit your payment. So all of that needs to be really be aware of what you're putting into the system, because once you submitted it and you sign, you provide the electronic signature, you're not able to modify it any longer. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is what I mean. See, step 1 is a graduate general application where we have all this information that you need to complete, and you can save as you go. Before you go into step 2, save as you go, and you can always go back to the portal and make changes in step 1. Once you finish step 1, you do save and continue. Then this is where you get all the information that you have to enter, such as your legal first name, legal last name, and all the fields with the asterisks required fields. So if you look at the top of the menu bar here, so you have the welcome, personal, demographics, educational, professional, additional information, and certification. So this is all in step 1 that you can always, so at this point, you have not submitted your application yet. You're just creating your application at the very first round, right? So you're not submitting it yet. So at this stage, you can still make changes should you save and in your application. Same with demographics, your citizenship status and all that. So that's again is the required field. And here is where you so from demographics, then you go to educational professional, and this is where if you select graduate diploma in management, this automatically will be pre-populated, and you can select the term that you want. So we offer 3 intakes a year, so January, May, and August of each year. So you select whichever term you wish to start. And designation, again, if you do not, I would just leave this blank because again, it's not required. At the Basque University ID, there's a drop down to say, I don't know or unsure, so that's fine. And this is where you have to also make a decision. Do you intend to transfer to the MBA program or take the GDM only? If you want to wish to transfer to the MBA in phase 2, you just click transfer to MBA. If you change your mind in this stage, once you're in the program, we can modify that for you. So it's not the end all in this stage. So most of the students would select transfer to MBA once they finish phase 1. And then again, for the graduate diploma management, this is really important. Have you attended any post-secondary institutions outside of Canada or the US? So because you're not providing us with any transcripts, official transcripts, so you just have to answer no. Because if you answer yes, then the system will ask you to provide transcripts. If you do not have transcripts, then that's going to create a bit of a mess, because then you have to restart your application and answer this question as no. So keep that in mind. Even though you may have a diploma or a certificate, because you're applying to the program without a degree, the best bet is just say no if you're applying to the graduate diploma management route of entry. I know this is a bit confusing looking at this at the first go, but once you're in the system, it's pretty straightforward. For those who are applying with an MBA or with an undergraduate degree, then yes, you select the MBA on the get-go, on the educational professional, and then you just follow the prompt. Another step to be aware of is if your post-secondary education or your career has always been in English, you're not required to submit an English language proficiency test course. Even if you have an international degree, but your degree was conducted in English, you don't have to submit a TOEFL or IELTS score. Because again, if you select yes on this part, then the system will require you to submit the test scores. If you don't have it, then you have to restart the application, which or start a new application rather, and that is can be time consuming. So again, be sure that when you take your time when you're completing this form to really think of what you need to provide, what you have. And the next few pages here, just additional information about the program. And this is where, up until this point, you can still make changes to your application. But once you come to this page where you certify that everything is correct, see once you come to this stage, you're about to submit your application, and at this point onwards, you're not able to alter any longer. So this is where you got to be careful. Okay, I have a question here. If I completed half of my degree outside of North America, did I have here with transfer credits? Do I need to declare that in this application submission for the transfer credits? Interesting question. If you have completed, so it's based on where you receive your final degree. If you receive a final degree from Canada, then it doesn't need to be evaluated. Okay, because transfer credits are taken into consideration to the final degree that you receive. So if you have half and half, it depends on which university confer that degree to you. If it's in Canada, then you don't need to have it evaluated. So hopefully that answers your question, Tanzia. Okay, so this is where once you come to this point, you sign the form. It's dated. You're not able to make any more modifications because at this point we consider that all information is correct. You're applying to the right program. You have the right information. So if you do an error, then you really have to restart the application again by clicking on new application. And once you click on submit, if you see all these errors, then you have to go back and answer those required fields. Because what this means is that you haven't really completely answered those required fields, and the system will stop you until you complete those requirements or answer those questions. And then once you successfully completed or submitted your application, you can always go back to your account or to that portal we saw earlier, and you will receive emails along the way to see what has been submitted, what is still needed. So you can always go back and click on action required or click on view to complete the submitted application before you pay. And normally with this is that either your references are still missing, as Shannon mentioned, that your referees have to have access to the portal through email, which the system will generate automatically. Normally, yeah, your reference would still be missing at this point, or we still haven't received your official transcript. So this is where you have to go back into your submitted application and make those changes or view where things are before you can pay for the application fee before it gets reviewed. So there's a lot of steps before it gets to the admissions committee to review your application. But all is not lost. If you need assistance with the application, feel free to call our toll-free number at 1-800-788-9041 if you're in Canada and the US, or you're calling from internationally, there's area code 1-780-675-6100. For those who can't access the toll-free number, somebody will be able to help you in your application as well. And if you need to make changes once you've submitted your application, you can always contact our graduate enrollment advisors at FB-GRAD-Enroll. That's FB-GRAD-Enroll at athabasca.ca, and they can help you as well. So that's something to keep thinking about. Okay, we just went over 1 minute here. I just want to check with Anna to make sure that that you're still good, Anna. And Anna, maybe. Yeah,
minutes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Maybe Anna, before we just finish up this part, if you want to, say any last words to our listeners today about the application, this probably is a good time for you.
I just thank you. Thank you for the
You're
opportunity,
welcome.
Fareed. I just want to say that our team is extremely supportive. That, you know, people in the call should know this, that it's really okay to reach out to you and Shannon and anybody else in the graduate enrollment team, that they're very, very helpful in sorting out issues, sometimes even taking a look at what you have and making sure that your resume is okay or something else that you're not sure about is okay. And the same is true for our admissions team. We work hard to ensure that the person that we are considering is evaluated fairly and comprehensively. And when sometimes if there's something that we have concern that we're concerned about, we then reach out to the applicant and we ask for more information. And we have regularly asked for revised resumes when we feel that some information is either not clear or not explained in detail. So we do go the extra mile to ensure that you're treated fairly and that we give you the best shot at getting admitted into the program.
Thank you so much, Anat, for your time and your great insight today. We really appreciate it.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Anna.
Thank you.
Okay. 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 Just to kind of just finish up here. Just to let you know, we have 3 intakes a year. The January intake for the winter cohort, May spring cohort, and August fall cohort. And currently, we are accepting applications for the January 2026 cohort, which application deadline is October 15th. So that's why we have the webinar scheduled in such a way that it will give you a bit of time to really prepare your application and submit to us by the deadline. October 15th is the deadline for the January 2026 cohort. And also encourage for you to sign up for our October 1st webinar, where we'll be speaking with one of our recent alumni about the program. So that's where we'll get a bit more in depth of each of the components of the program structure, how it's delivered, the grading and time commitment, all of that details will be discussed on the October 1st webinar. So be sure to sign up for that. Also, we have the next 2 slides about financing your MBA program. I know financing is a big issue that we hear a lot from our prospective students. So here's a snapshot of what you can try as a strategy to help you finance your MBA program. The Canada Job Grant Program is actually a great way, but keep in mind some provinces, I know Ontario doesn't allow the job grant program in Ontario for MBA programs. But if you do a bit of research on where you are in each province, they do have different information. So that's one way. Self-financing is also another great way, because that's personally how I did my MBA, is through the low interest student lines of credit. I know banks such as Royal Bank, RBC, TD Bank do offer low interest student lines of credit for graduate programs such as an MBA. And you don't have to pay interest until you graduate. So that's always a good way to kind of fund your program. Another way is if you have money in your RSP account, you can withdraw it under the lifelong learning plan, and I believe it's $10,000 a calendar year that you can withdraw to fund your MBA studies. And again, you have to pay back upon graduation. If not, you'll be taxed on the income. But again, check with CRA Canada or with your accountant about the lifelong learning plan. Employee sponsorship is another great way to get funded. Sometimes money is good, but also most times when you're in the program, professional development days or PD days are also good for you to ask your employer. And we do have great talking points on our website about sponsorship, what you need to kind of sell to your employer about the program and how this can benefit them, right? So that's also another great way for you to talk to your employer about the program. Last but not least, we also have scholarships and awards. If you're a Canadian permanent resident or a Canadian citizen, You can apply to as many awards and scholarships and bursaries there are out there. But keep in mind, not all bursaries, scholarships, and awards can cover the program. From what I've seen, most of the time it's only for one course, maybe 2 courses a year, so you have to always keep on applying. So that's some tips, and also there's more information on our website on graduate funding and how to finance your MBA program in greater detail. Okay, so just to wrap up here, I know we've gone over our time here. I'm not sure if you qualify, so feel free to send us your resume for pre-assessment. Shannon and I are not on the admissions committee, so we cannot say yes or no, but we can definitely give you feedback and guidance. So feel free to email us at business-support@athabascau.ca. Again, our email is business-support@athabascau.ca. And before we leave you today, I just want to bring up this slide from our recent MBA alumna, Alicia. We had her before on our previous webinars. She's saying, like, if you're considering to pursue your MBA but unsure about it, remember the hardest part is taking the first step. And that's what happened to Alicia. She took the first step, and she is now a successful entrepreneur in Calgary. And that's her advice to those who are listening today, to just take the first step. And again, we are here for you, like Anna mentioned earlier. Shannon and I are here for you. We are your first point of contact to help you with any application questions you may have for your resume, application package. We're here to help you. And then once you're in the program, then our graduate student advisors will take care of you. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at business-support@athabascau.ca. Again, our email is business-support@athabascau.ca. You can also book an appointment with us by clicking on the link on the PDF. So you can book an appointment with Shannon and I on a one-on-one call, or you can always call us at 1-800-561-4650. Again, our toll-free number is 1-800-561-4650. And with that, I thank you so much for your time, your great questions, and your presence today. We really appreciate that you're here with us in this hour and 10 minutes. So before I end the webinar, Shannon, you have any last words of encouragement for our listeners?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. And if you think of any questions after the webinar, please reach out. We're here to help, and we really look forward to receiving your application. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate that. Yeah, and again, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help you. And with that, I'll end the webinar. Have a great day, everyone. We hope to see your application really soon, and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.